So in this video, I want to talk about money and the law of attraction again. So how you can use the law of attraction to make more money for yourself, because I think that's one of the biggest problems that people face today. And it's a general problem worldwide. Everybody wants more money. Everybody needs more money. And the reason why it's such a big problem is because we have linked our survival to money. Because money can buy you food, money can provide shelter and a house and all of those things for you. The luxuries, the acceptance, the safety and security and all of those things, that's all dependent on the money that you make, right? And that's why people are constantly after more money, and they want to make more, and they want to have that security and safety and acceptance and all of those things that goes with money. So I think where people go wrong, because first of all, if the law of attraction, if it was so easy to apply the law of attraction just to attract more money, there wouldn't be poverty, there wouldn't be stress and financial stress and credit and all of those things. Everybody would just obviously be financially like independent and well off. But I think it's because people have missed the way, or they've forgotten almost how money was invented and what the purpose of it is. So money is just an exchange method for services or goods that you render and provide or exchange. So basically, if you think back prehistoric times, or before, not prehistoric, but before money's time, the way people obviously were able to exchange was through bartering. And so they would have 4 cows, and those 4 cows they would know can feed their family for, let's say, 12 months. And so they knew what the value, they could quantify, and it was tangible. So they could quantify the value of those 4 cows, and they knew that if somebody else wanted that they had to give something substantial in order for them to trade their 4 cows for that specific service or something, right? So when money was invented, people kind of lost track of how to measure money and how to measure the value of that money. In other words, that's why people will easily ask for donations or ask for more money or ask for a promotion. They just want more without giving more, because to them, they believe that, but it's just a number, it's just a digit or a piece of paper. And they've kind of lost track of that value that they need to now exchange more in order to get more. So that's first of all. So I want you to kind of just understand that money is just an exchange for the actual value that you provide to somebody else. Now, when it comes to law of attraction and how you can then get more of this is, first of all, you need to realize what is law of attraction. So to me, people tend to separate God or higher power or the higher self, whatever you want to call that, but they tend to separate that part as this external being that has control over their lives, that can make a decision as a human being, thinking in duality, thinking, okay, I'm going to give you this opportunity, or I'm going to hold it back. Or they think of that entity as being a higher power with duality thought that can make decisions and either give you something or not. And they think of law of attraction as being something completely separate to the higher power or God, as this universal law that you can apply, and then God will, so if you do it in the right way, then God will give you whatever you want, right? But to me, all of those things are exactly the same thing. So to me, and this is just how I explain it to myself so that I can actually understand it. So to me, God or higher spirits or whatever you want to call it, and the law of attraction is exactly the same thing. And to me, how I understand it is that it's not this entity of duality that can make conscious decisions. To me, God is basically, if I can call it that, basically a mathematical equation. Like, for instance, 1 + 1 will always equal 2. So to me, God and the universe is a mathematical equation. And if you're doing the right things, it's going to work out for you. So God wants to give to you as long as you follow the rules, as long as you follow the equation, the mathematical equation, then things will start coming to you, right? So what is that mathematical equation? And that is basically that if if you could trade your life for any amount of value, you wouldn't do that, right? So your life is worth more than any money all the money in the world. In other words, you've already received the gift of life, right? So you've already received like the highest value thing that planet Earth could design. You've received that. You've received life. So in other words, you've received everything that's needed, and now God, or the law of attraction, says to you, okay, how this equation works is you've already received everything, so you need to give back. And a lot of law of attraction gurus out there will speak about the law of attraction as this. They'll speak about you having to give back in order to receive, right? And then people might interpret that as, I need to give 1/10 of my money to the church, or I need to give part of my money, or I need to give to charity, or whatever, right? But then a lot of people would sit back and say, but I don't have it, so if you give me money, sure, then I'll give money to the church or to charity or to whatever. And that's completely the wrong way to think about it. You've already received all that you can receive. So if the universe's law, that universal law or law of attraction basically says give back. And what that means is not money. It doesn't say give money back. It doesn't say give charity. It doesn't say any of those things. What it says is you as a human being is enough. You've already received the gift of life. You've received certain talents or skills or whatever. And I want you to give that back to society. And this is the equation. The more you give back, the more I'm going to give back to you. And the more you give, the more I'm going to just make your life so much more pleasurable and enjoyable, and you can just get more and more, right? So that's the thing. Like, people want the money, but they forget that the equation is that you need to provide. So you need to provide that service, and you need to think to yourself. The more you provide, the more complex the problem is that you solve for other people, the more the universe will give back to you, the more you will reward it. And it's your choice in what way you want to be rewarded. It can be by friendships, but if you demand money for it, sure, then the universe will give you money for it. You can basically set your price. But it has to be in relation to the amount of energy that you exert in the first place, and the amount of value that you provide to the outside world. So, in other words, I want you to forget about, I need the money, I want the money, how can I make money? Because then all you're saying is, I'm trying to take from the universe. I'm trying to take even more before I even have given equal amount of value or more or less even value from my own energy. I've not given enough from myself. I just want. So if you sit there and think, okay, but I need to now find the next business idea, I need to find the next opportunity to make money, then you're on the wrong track. You're not on the right vibration. You're not on the monetary or the flow of the universe and the laws of the universe. You need to sit back and say, but what can I give to the outside world? And if you are in that mindset where you think, okay, what can I do? What can I offer to the outside world that will give me money? Then you're putting a condition on that, and that's not how the universe works. What you need to provide is unconditionally. So there shouldn't be a condition in your mind to say, okay, I'll do this, but in exchange, I'm going to want the money. That will come automatically. If you don't set a timeline to it, if you don't set any conditions to it, and you just say, how can I serve? What skill do I have to offer other people? And then the universe will, by law, give back to you in whatever form you require or that you want. So, and giving to the universe doesn't mean, as I said, it doesn't mean you have to give money. It doesn't mean you have to work hard, per se. It means that you have to find something that you already internally have. You have a certain personality type. You might be a very comedian or funny person. That's something you can provide because you were born with those attributes. Whether you're a deep thinker, whether you like philosophy and you enjoy philosophizing, that's something that's an attribute that you were born with, and a personality trait or a temperament. And the universe basically says to you, like, give that back. I've given it to you the day you were born. You need to now give that back. And the more you give it back, the more I'll reward you for it. So you might think to yourself, but I'm working 10 times as hard as somebody else. Why am I not earning as much? And the reason for that is because you might feel internally that you're working hard, and you might be actually working hard, but you're not solving the problem. You're not solving a difficult enough problem that will relate to your personality type and your attributions. So in other words, if you, let's say you are actually, and I always use this example because it's the two opposites, but let's say you are actually a very artistic person, or let's say you're an artistic person, and you can actually produce like amazing art, yet you found yourself in a legal career where you became a lawyer because of expectations from the outside world, your parents or whatever, then you're not solving or adding value to the extent that you are capable of when you pursued a different career, when you would have become an artist or whatever. So you might feel let's say, I just use it as an example, but let's say as a lawyer, you might feel that you're working hard, and it will feel like a ton of work because it might not be internally your personality, it might not be who you are. So to you, that job might be extremely stressful, yet you're not performing as you think. You might think that you're performing well, but you're not performing as well as somebody else would have performed that were just fundamentally built for that position, right? So for somebody that was built for, let's say, becoming a lawyer, to them it wouldn't feel like hard work. It wouldn't feel as stressful because they were built for that, right? So you need to find out. You need to first of all forget about how can I earn the money, how can I get the money, how can I get from the outside world. So you need to forget about that, and you need to ask yourself, how can I add value? How can I give back? What did I get innate? What was I born with? What skills and personality traits was I born with that I can now put into some form of output, whether it is a service or a good that you produce and sell. But you need to figure out what that is, and you need to accept that you might not be the tough guy lawyer that you thought it will get the admiration, the recognition, all of those things, and the money, because a lot of people also follow career paths based on what the expectation is of what I'm going to earn, and then they end up not earning that amount, not driving the car, not getting that recognition financially, and then they kind of get demotivated because they thought completely different. And the reason for that is because they did it with a condition to say that I'm going to do this. I know I enjoy more making music, but I'm going to become a lawyer because that will give me a lot more money. So there was a condition attached to that, and the universe will not give you that because you are, in actual fact, not the best lawyer. You might think that you are, but you're not. And there's somebody else that might be, that definitely might be a lot better than you. So you need to figure out what it is that you were born with, what personality type, what traits were you born with, and what service or good. It can be anything. It can be comedy. It can be a lawyer. It can be a doctor. It can be just generating content on YouTube. It can be whatever the case might be, that will fit your personality type. And then you need to apply yourself and say, okay, I'm unconditionally, without any expectation, monetary expectation, or even timeline, or even fame or recognition, or any expectation whatsoever. So it needs to be unconditional, where you say, you know what, I'm good at this. I'm going to start giving back to the world this one thing or 2 or 10 things. And I guarantee you, by law, and that's if you get to that point, then you are on that frequency. Then you're on the right frequency of receiving. So whether it's receiving relationships or like love or money or whatever the case might be, it's irrelevant. Basically, you need to be in a position where you provide. So you need to solve problems for other people. You need to provide whatever you were born with. And then by law, that is the law of attraction. That's the true law of attraction. By law, you will be compensated for whatever you provide to the outside world. So a lot of people might also say, but there are people that just take from other people from their perspective. But in actual fact, they are providing something to that person, whether it is comedy or whether it is like people producing movies or making comedy. They're not solving a problem, a tangible problem for somebody else, right? They're not mowing the lawn or doing whatever, washing their dishes, whatever, right? But what they are doing is providing them with comedy. So they're solving a problem, because that problem might be that I need some entertainment in my life, and that comedian might be providing that entertainment. So he's solving a problem for me at that very moment, and that's why I would be willing to give money, to pay to see a show or whatever, right? So whatever that is to you, and whatever you find pleasure in doing that fits your and also the way you kind of know whether that is right for your personality or not, is if you enjoy it, if you're passionate about it. If something drains you, then you need to know that you're trying to be somebody or do something that you're not supposed to be doing, or that doesn't fit your personality and your attributes perfectly. So if you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't matter what that is. You can monetize anything. Unless you do something basically for the love of it, and you don't expect or you don't want money as an exchange for that service that you're providing. But you can literally monetize anything, and you might not think of it like that, and you might have been conditioned to say that you have to become XYZ in order to generate money, but it's not the case. You can literally do anything that you can enjoy, you can turn into any value of any kind, any form of survival, which is in this case obviously the exchange of money. So the point that I'm trying to make, and just to recap, where you need to get yourself to, is to understand the law of attraction and what the law of attraction actually is. It's not this visualization thing where you visualize you're stuck in a dead-end job and you just visualize something and then all of a sudden something comes to you. It's a mathematical equation. God is a mathematical equation that says to you, I'm not, sometimes I've got a good I'm in a good mood, and sometimes I'm in a bad mood. So if you catch me on a good day, then I'll give something to you. It's not. It's a mathematical equation. It always works for every single person on the face of this planet. It works the same way. As soon as you've been, so that's the highlight almost, is that the law of attraction is one equation. The more you were born with enough, the more of that you give to the outside world, the more you will receive back. So that's it, plain and simple. The way you know whether you are giving the right thing is if you are passionate about what you're doing, and it's all a snowball effect. Once you do something that you're actually passionate about, you'll want to do more without having without needing the motivation, the financial motivation, or the fear motivation of maybe losing a job or whatever. You will want to do that just by yourself. Even if you don't get paid for it, you'll want to do that. And that's when you know you're doing the right thing that fits your profile, fits your personality, and do more of that and serve other people, serve more people. There's also no point in just doing something for yourself by yourself and keeping it for yourself. Do something and give it to other people, provide it to other people, solve that problem for them, whatever it is. And that is when you are in the flow. That's when you are on the right frequency. And then law of attraction says you're following the equation properly. So now I will give you equal amount or equal value, because you've now given more of yourself. And you don't need to give money. You need to give from yourself, because you were born with enough. You were born with everything that you need in order to give. So I hope that this makes sense. I hope the point of this video is to explain law of attraction how I understand it, and to simplify it, because there's a lot of people that will speak about your conscious mind, your subconscious, and the fears that you attract, and it's keeping you from taking the action. You need to eliminate the blocks, and you need to get on the right frequency, and you need to, all of those things, right? There are so many different elements to it. But what I'm trying to do with this video is to take all of that and just simplify it for you to understand that the law of attraction is a simple mathematical equation. Is you are enough, you've received enough, now it's your turn to give back. And once you give back, you'll start getting. So forget about the money, forget about the monetary valuation to anything that you want to attract. Focus on, so the law of attraction also, the word attraction is almost like wrong, almost flawed. They should have called it the law of giving almost, or the law of giving and receiving instead of the law of attraction, because people just focus on that part where it says attraction. How can I attract? How can I manifest? It should say, how can I give and then receive? Because the one precedes the other. You need to give back to the world, and then recognition, almost in the form of whatever you ask, in this case financial recognition, will automatically by law come back to you. So I hope that this makes sense to you. I hope you stayed up until the end of this video, and if you need any guidance, any help, just send me an email, leave a comment, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and all the best. We'll see you in the next video.